Lo, 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 lo,
There was an old house that had
lo,
been in my family since the 1830s. The people who presently owned it were planning to destroy it. The only way to keep this from happening was to buy the house and move it 3 miles to some land that was still owned by my family. There was nothing unique or of any great value about this house, but it was a part of my family. The house was soon to be lost. I had to prevent this.
And I wonder at times about lots of things, but this youngest son of mine, I think he's a little touched in the head. He's not quite right. He inherits this mainly from his mother's side of the family.
My name is Philip Allen Jones. I really started getting intrigued by the Hendrick house about 7 years ago. It was abandoned even then. I'd come back every year to see it, and each time a few more windows had been broken out by vandals. When I heard it was going to be destroyed, I pleaded with my father to buy it. Despite his skepticism, he bought the Hendrick house and gave it to my mother on Valentine's Day. A house with no electricity, no plumbing, and at that point, no future. I knew practically nothing about the people who had lived there, my great-great-grandparents, Archie and Eliza Hendrick. I began a search into my own family's past.
Archie Hendrick came to Taladega from Virginia in 1837. He married a girl named Eliza, and they started a small cotton plantation. He received a military land grant in 1852 and kept expanding their farm until the Civil War. When Archie was released from the Confederate cavalry, the South's Agricultural Society was ruined, so he turned to horse racing. He raced his horses on this actual bit of remaining track at a neighbor's nearby plantation, Thornhill. Archie died in 1904, and Eliza died at 20 and was abandoned by the early 1960s.
I took these slides while I dismantled the house. In order to move the house, I had to take off the roof, front porch, 2 rear rooms, tear down the 2 brick chimneys, and move the materials 3 miles to the new house site. I moved each brick and board by myself. The whole process took longer than I had planned.
I bought the house because somebody was going to tear it down and split it into fence posts. So my son started working on it. In fact, he's been working on it for 1.5 years now. I don't know what he plans to do with it, but I wish he would get finished with it and get a job.
I was taking off the roof when it began to sway. I quickly climbed down before the roof collapsed, but I was almost crushed by a 1,000-pound log. At that point, I wondered if it was worth it.
I'm Betty Hendrick Bowe. I'm next to the last one born in the old Hendrick home. I was told that my grandmother Hendrick liked to stay up late at night, in fact, almost all night. And grandfather would get very impatient with her and yell out, "Liza, when you come into bed?" And she'd say, "Oh, Archie, I haven't churned yet." When the grandchildren would gather around grandfather, I guess climbing over him and worrying him to death, "Liza, come in here and get these kids out of here." I guess it was just a world of make-believe with me, the happiest time of my life. And the old house was watching the shadows in the afternoon. I would just see all kind of things in the shadows and in the clouds. We had a kind of a lattice work dividing the front and the back hall. And the shadows coming through there were beautiful, just made all kind of patterns. I guess one of the first things I think about is the furniture and how it was arranged. Of course, the bedrooms, all the bedroom furniture was all made of wood, and it was hand carved. And all the dressers and tables and anything like that had marble tops on them.
Rudolph, he ain't dropping that plate or showing his head. We've got to put these things on now. You better go look and see. What'd you say? Yeah, well, I did. I made 14 crops for Mr. Benjamin Herbert, and then I went to his son and made 9 crops for him, Mr. Jack Herbert, Mr. B.J. Herbert's son.
Henry Cole plays a unique part in my family. He is the only one left who personally remembers Eliza Hendrick, a woman born in 1830.
Miss Liza, she would be taking care of the children while their mothers and fathers would be working in the field. And she would rock us to sleep and put us to sleep and go on and do her work at that time. And she would get us to sleep, and she would sing. Oh, la, 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 la. Oh, la, 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 la.
When the slaves were freed, all of them didn't leave the farm. And Aunt Millie was one of the descendants of one of the slaves, and she's the one that I was so crazy about. She would come down to visit me, I guess, almost daily, and she would always come in with a bosom full of homemade tea cakes. She would take me up in her lap and tell me fairy tales. And when she'd get to the scary part, I would just get that much faster going in for my tea cakes.
Take some of those wood blocks off that white truck. You got to pick them under here after I lift this ass up.
know there's a ditch up here.
Put that weight truck on it. I don't think we'll have to have it over yonder. Did you just drive on this bone there?
Live and learn and die and forget it all. That's what the Bible said. That's the truth. I ain't got no sort of recollection, not much at all. Can't hold nothing on my mind, not at all. Live and learn and die and forget it all. Yes, sir, that's the truth. Die and forget it all.
Looking back on this project, I had many doubts in my mind to ever seeing it completed. But at this point, it looks like you've got it made.
It's been several months since I moved the house, and I'm starting to put the pieces back together. But with winter coming, the house is slowly starting to deteriorate. I will restore the house so that one day this house will evolve into a home.